Hi guys, Paul Seals here. Thanks for joining us for this special presentation talking about the need for privacy and how to stop your government spying on you, etc. I got a very special guest, Ashim from Clear Cellular, joining me. Hi Ashim, how are you going?
Hey Paul, how are you? Hello everyone.
Thanks for joining us. I just wanted to just create a little bit of context first for myself and then for yourself, Ashim, about the background. I mean, I've been a privacy advocate probably for about 10 years now and been speaking about privacy and probably the need for privacy and encryption on the back of the information that other people like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden and those guys were talking about in relation to the NSA surveillance and basically the surveillance of citizens and their data and all that sort of information. That's what sort of led me to the road here, and then we're going to talk about some of the solutions around privacy. So, can you tell us a little bit about Clear Cellular first and your journey around that role and also privacy, Ashim?
Yeah, well, I come from a cellular background. I launched the first prepaid cell company in the United States, sold it to T-Mobile, VoiceStream, back in the late 90s. Did almost hundreds of millions of dollars in prepaid revenue on the top-ups and things like that. So I had a lot of experience tapping into an unmet need for people, right? People who couldn't get a phone, we gave them a phone. Today, the biggest demand, a new category, I believe, is people who are demanding to get off of big tech and
Mm.
have privacy, right? So that's what attracted me to Clear Cellular. The chairman had spoken to me and he kind of saw my background, and I've been very passionate about this. Mostly, my path to this has been medical freedom, right?
Mm.
But really,
Mm.
the overarching stories I call is taking back the internet because they're all connected: medical
Yeah.
freedom, financial freedom, commercial freedom. But it all starts in your hand with your phone, right?
Yes.
So I hope also in this call to cover reasonable expectations of what privacy really is on a handset, or what
Yeah.
people can expect, right? Because some people just think, you can actually have everybody's tried to crack this code, John
Mm.
McAfee included,
Mm-hmm.
right? To have
Yeah.
a completely like, if you think you're going to get off the grid completely and be away from government surveillance, we're dreaming, right? That's not
Mm.
going to happen because they can fingerprint your phone. You can be walking around it with a phone with a SIM card in it, and they can grab a crowd's SIM numbers and IMEIs, which are device identifiers, and
Mm.
MAC addresses whenever they want, and they can fingerprint you. But there are people that do manage to stay off the grid with devices, but they're very, very it's a full-time job to do that, right?
Mm.
But it's
Mm-hmm.
not where we're going with our device. This is more about, taking your data back, taking your identity back. Like if you have data, photos in your on your phone, and you have data on your phone, there's no reason that that data should be surveilled by big tech. But if you voluntarily give all your information on centralized systems, what do you think is going to happen? They're
Mm.
mining it. Everybody knows now if you speak next to your phone, that's going to pick up what you say and give you an ad, right?
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, if it was just advertising, we'd be fine. Like, okay, fine, I don't mind the ads, right? But we
Mm.
know it goes much. It's a specter. It goes so much deeper than that. The AI is getting so intelligent. One day there'll be robots on the street which can basically access your entire life story, look at your face, know where you were 5 minutes ago, where you made that last purchase. So this is what we're trying to avoid: is some sort of dystopian nightmare as far as technology.
Yeah.
I love technology. Money's not bad. Technology's not bad. It
Mm.
belongs in the hands of good people, right?
Mm.
When you centralize things, you're just asking for trouble. We've seen it with central governments and central world governments and centralized data, centralized banks. Everything's centralized because who wants to go and centralize all that is the maniacs who want to control everything, right? So
Yeah.
we're taking back the internet, taking back technology at Clear, and we're decentralizing everything from, like, even your user ID, right? That's people think, oh, just my Gmail address, my Apple ID. I'm just putting
Mm.
it in. I can access everything. The minute you do that, right? You basically identifying every activity you ever do on your device to that ID,
Mm.
and they're mapping everything, right? So what we do for starters is we take back your ID. It's a cryptography based ID. It's actually a crypto address, right, with your 12 keywords. That's
Yeah.
how it is. It's mapped to your fingerprint, which remains on the device. We don't touch your fingerprint, right? So you
Mm.
have a fingerprint and a PIN number, which basically proxies for this cryptography ID. So therefore, we don't know who you are when you create an ID. We
Mm.
don't know which device you created that ID on, nothing. So, Paul, if you've got a phone and you create that ID, all that activity, we can't trace it back to you. You own the privacy keys to your identity. Whereas with, let's say, Apple, if people recall, people were trying to crack a code and try to get the privacy keys, the encrypted keys from Apple. The
Hmm.
guy wanted to fork it over, they didn't. We're unable to fork over your privacy keys because you own the 12 words. We don't even know what they are, right? So
Hmm.
all this data is stored all over the internet, and you're able to access that data through your fingerprint and your phone and your 12 words, so on and so forth. So that's where it starts, but it then moves into um, where the data is stored. The data is either stored on your phone, right, or it's stored on a decentralized servers all over the world, where there's no central control over that, right? And your keys is what unlocks that, and only you own the key. Then you go to the actually operating system of the phone as well, right?
Hmm.
We are very excited about the fact that we've just launched our new line of phones, which is the same hardware, the 220, the 420, and the 620, but it's a 220X, 420X, and 620X, and we've ripped out all remains of Google inside there.
Yeah.
There's no Google Play services, there's no Google Management Services, there's no Google telemetry in that device. The
Hmm.
danger of having Google in your phone is that it basically pulls your MAC address, which is your device identifier for the internet.
Hmm.
Okay. I mean, what do you have a smartphone if it doesn't have internet, right? So every time you go by a Wi-Fi router, it's reading your MAC address on your phone. So imagine now Google knows your MAC address on your phone. Every Wi-Fi router you're near, it knows where you are, right? Because the MAC address to your device and that Wi-Fi to
Yeah.
get linked. So
Matches them up.
particularly, I mean, definitely if you make a connection on the internet, but arguably even if you don't make a connection, those Wi-Fi routers are get grabbing your MAC address.
Hmm.
So having Google out of there really helps. And the other thing that Google's been very smart is that they've put themselves in the kernel of Android phones. So all these big manufacturers, their application sitting in the kernel is in the system layer. So basically can grab anything, your SIM number, your IMEI number, I know I'm probably using terms that everybody's maybe not be familiar with, but look them up.
Yep.
IMEI, SIM, MAC address, phone number, your Google ID, your Apple ID, your Amazon ID, all that stuff. It can have access to all these, particularly you're voluntarily giving Google, you even give Google your passwords. Say, hey, Google, why
Mm.
don't you generate a strong password? I mean,
Yeah.
how crazy are we now that we've actually let Google basically create our passwords for us
Mm.
and store them on their servers?
Mm.
I mean, if you get where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, I do.
So
Absolutely.
basically, this is a new movement of taking back the internet, which means you have to change your behavior. You can't expect security, privacy, choice, freedom, and not change any behavior, right?
Mm.
We have to learn how. I mean, the same way the financial system's not changing into crypto unless people really understand that they've got to use money in a different way. They've got to understand what a crypto wallet is. They have to be able to download that. How do you send money? How do you receive it? Same way with your Clear phone. We've basically made it as simple as the existing phone, but there are some underpinning changes that people
Mm.
have to really become educated on. Maybe today, um, it's not dystopian. You could still use your phone and you're fine, right? Who knows when the day will come that if you don't have a QR code, a specific type of QR code for medical, let's say some sort of medical status, let's say, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have that on your device, and it just doesn't start.
Mm.
Then what do you
Mm.
do,
Yep.
right? And if I spoke like this maybe 2 years ago, people think completely crazy, right? But today it is very much a reality. So, as the digital warriors is more than just posting things on Facebook and reading things. It's about changing technology, changing the face of technology, using the new tools that are coming back, and decentralizing. So that's what Clear is all about, and the direction we're going.
Yeah. I think that's the thing at the moment with what you mentioned, what's happening in the world at the moment, and particularly in countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, those Five Eyes countries, they're really getting present to the mass surveillance agenda for check-in for QR codes, um, monitoring and surveillance of text messaging, phone calls, internet browsing, GPS tracking. All those things are becoming a major concern at this point in
Oh
time. And
yeah,
I think,
and
sorry, you
and
go.
those countries like do not use your phone number. You know what I mean? Use your
Mm.
data connection. Use Clear Signal, right? To
Yeah.
do your text, your videos, your voice chats, or what have you. Because the minute you're going over that mobile phone number is assigned to you by that mobile provider,
Yes.
right? They're able to surveil your calls because I mean, they've got voice recognition that happens in a split second, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to go kind of deep dive into this if you don't mind. Like,
Great.
for instance, one area that people don't realize is that, let's say you have a SIM, you just rotate your SIMs, right? And say, oh, I think I'm free now. I've just got a new SIM card. I put a prepaid SIM in my phone. Well, guess what? If you're doing that, Paul, and I save your SIM card in my phone and I write Paul Sells on the contact, well, guess what? My contact list is being uploaded somewhere. That's how
Yeah.
bad it is, right? And so if they look for your name, they can find it in my contact list with your new SIM, which you think is anonymous, right? So we have to learn to use our technology responsibly in these kind of, particularly in these dark zones, I would say.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So my recommendation is please stay away from if you really need if you're in a dire place like the places you mentioned, right? Stay away from messaging on straight text or having voice calls
Yeah.
because even voice calls they can be imprinted. But you want to use encrypted applications like Clear Signal, right? Where
Yeah.
at least you know that communication channel for that period of time is good to go.
Absolutely. I've had my Clear phone since early this year. I think it was about January.
Yeah.
And Clear phone actually has a special on at the moment. I'll just share this really quickly, the screen, while you're talking about, if you like. Uh, that there's a promotion happening for 22% discount at this point in time.
Yeah, we basically convinced our chairman, who's all behind it now, to give out a 22% discount since Black Friday. So before Black Friday, you've got a 22% discount off our 420 and 620 models. We've never given a discount on our phones, and the discount will go away at the end of the year. So basically, you've got a window to purchase the phone at 22% off. Plus, we're giving $129 pair of wireless earbuds, like the same like the Apple ones that they have, the little cute little Apple ones, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. They're
If you
called
can see
Clear
that.
Ear C20s. That's also there. So if you look at the 420, for example, from 900 to 700, that's $200 off, plus the 129, that's 329 value off. Also in Australia, the 420 is now less than 1,000 AUD, which means it's no longer subject to the tariff of $175. So you've got 325 plus the 175. That's almost like $500 off the phone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if I was Australia, I would buy the 420 even over the 620, right? Economically, it just makes a lot of sense because the 620 will in AUDs over 1,000, so you have to pay tax, right?
Yeah.
So take
Import
advantage
duty.
of this, and also for the clear influencers that are already here, this is really for you because we know it's been a long year. Um, we have now we've put taken Google out of the phone, which means it sets up faster than an Android. It can set up in like 2 minutes, right? And it's super easy to use, and it's got improved security, privacy. Plus, it's hundreds of dollars cheaper.
Yeah.
So for clear influencers who have been waiting for this day, right? We have this entire month. You can actually make up your year's sales in this month because it's Christmas season, or at least 6 months of it, right? And kind of regenerate the interest in the service because it's easier to use, easier to set up. You don't have any of those hassles, and it's more private and secure than ever before. So I think it's a great opportunity for influencers to get the interest and then kick off the 2022 with a nice closing for the year.
Sorry, I got another call coming in. That's
Okay.
great, Asheen. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. I've put a link for registration there. Anyone can send me a private message if you want some more further information about it, and I can send you some videos out for some information for people that want to get a little bit more across getting their privacy in order for
Yeah.
encryption.
And
So
a little kudos for Paul. I've got to spend time with Paul. He came out to Utah. I don't know, you were there for a month and a half. Same as
yeah, I think probably nearly 10 weeks, I think.
Oh, 10 weeks. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Actually, I had left and you stayed, so you were a fixture in the office.
yeah,
But there are a lot of influencers out there, but I think Paul prides himself, and we really support him in that fact that he really supports his network. I mean, You can try to sign up in different places, so on and so forth. But Paul's kind of like steady, and you can count on him because there's a lot. I've rattled off a lot of things already on this call. There's a lot more to just buying this device, right? It's a lifestyle change, it's a movement,
Yeah.
and it requires the kind of support that I believe that Paul gives and what he stands for. Because he and I got to spend a lot of personal time together. Also, I know that this is more than this is not about even selling a product, even though maybe I sound markety when I'm talking, right?
Yeah. It's about trust, and it's about relationships, Hashim.
Well, no, I'm gonna say if we don't take back the internet, right,
Yes.
what's gonna happen? This is like
Hmm.
the war is done,
Yeah. Well,
right?
we'll enable technocracy to take over humanity if we don't
Yeah.
take a stand and get empowered for ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I look forward to like the same way the DeFi people are just going so exciting and ballistic over what they've done to the financial industry, right?
Hmm.
We want to be out front, leading that. And I'm telling you now, the things that are coming in terms of the apps, decentralized apps like Google Drive replacement, Google Zoom, a Zoom replacement, all that sort of thing is going to come,
Yeah.
right? You want to be part of this now
Mm.
and sign on your networks and get it going because we are planning on selling 1 million devices next year, and you want to be part of that
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
part of Paul's team.
Fantastic. Great, Hashim. Thank you for taking your time. I know you're very busy. Thanks for taking time to share with us, and we
Thanks.
look forward to catching up with you again soon. And sending much love to your family.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Hashim.